seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Never seen a blind man see? I promise you a change his name. Ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change his name. Seen a broken heart made whole. Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen the weak find the strength? I promise you I'll change his name. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed? Ever seen a death man raised? I promise you I'll change his name.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? It's your boy Bigger T, and I'm here with my best friend Clint Clark, Big C. How you doing? What you drinking, man?
It's lemonade.
Where's that from?
Country Time.
Oh, just from the house?
It's actually a Propel packet, but you know, I had me a tea earlier.
Well, it's out of a blank styrofoam cup, so thought you might have stopped somewhere and got you some.
It's got me a little something. I actually, you know, sadly, and this is crazy, I do not drink it all. So,
what's your favorite lemonade?
Man, I don't. I mostly drink Propel. Anna likes the lemonades, the little. It's a certain one she gets from the Dollar General.
What about like if you're at a restaurant, you drink lemonades at all?
Every now and then I like me a good pink lemonade. You know, not that I want them to have like the homemade behind, like out of a bubbler. I don't want to get it out of the soda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't want the high C version.
I don't want high C version. I don't want Minute Maid. I want it to be like a bubbler, like over there, like ooh.
Although the old Minute Maid in a can was some good lemonade.
That was some good.
No, I'm sorry, Country Time in the can. Remember that, the old school stuff? See, since I don't drink sodas at all, I'm a connoisseur of lemonades because that's my lemonade or sweet tea is what I go to with it if I'm out to eat somewhere.
No,
the fast food places are stepping up with their lemonades. You know, Wendy's has a really good strawberry lemonade.
Yeah. See, and when I quit drinking sodas about, was it 7-8 years ago? About the time that, and I just, because I would go to the store and just get like 7-Up, and so I quit drinking sodas. So literally and you've been with me many restaurants, I order the same thing everywhere. I get unsweet tea, and then I put the packets in it, and people make fun of me. I'm like, well, it's what I like.
Yeah.
I got used to it. So yeah, there's like places I like. I know, like, okay, I like it from this station, this gas station. Yeah. Sonic, of course, you know. The problem,
Chick-fil-A's got some good lemonade too.
The only problem with like Sonic, Chick-fil-A is you don't get to mix it. You don't get to like control the ice tea ratio yourself. Because depending on when they come out, you could fill it up with ice and it'll just melt. So you kind of gotta pay attention.
See, I'm a low ice fan.
See,
I don't like much ice.
I like to reuse my ice. Like that's what this is. Oh. This was sweet tea that I got from Harps. I stopped and got tater tots. And so I got me some tater tots, and because I like tater tots. It's really my favorite way to eat a French fry.
Yeah.
Yep. Any potato. I like. How about you, Travis? Because I'm a tater tot guy.
I'm a tater tot guy.
If the owner of the company I work for, Mr. Harrison, they said like there's a barbecue place over in Southwest Little Rock that he likes called Three Sam's, and I'd ate there before. I just ate there that once with him, and I thought the barbecue was okay, but apparently one he likes it because he also likes tater tots.
Yeah,
If I'm somewhere and like I have a choice between French fries, tater tots, chips,
Yeah,
but
it's tater tots.
it's tater tots. I
Yeah.
love it.
Have you seen that Domino's is doing that tater tots with the toppings on them?
Oh yeah, I've had them.
Really? Are they any good?
They're pretty good.
Yeah. That's
It's,
just
it's
kind of funny to me.
it's hard to deliver a potato.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gets a little soggy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough for that for right now. We may talk a little more of that later. How's your week been? How's it going?
Oh, I've got a burp. So,
Okay.
no, I did think of you. I did make a a couple additions to the farm. I really whenever I see a donkey, the first thing I think about you.
Well, as well you should.
I mean, because your Facebook profile ever was just your face with a donkey on.
That's my African donkey, buddy. Yeah. That's an actual African donkey in Uganda.
Excuse me, but so we anyway, somebody was giving a couple donkeys away on Facebook, and I've been wanting to add some to the farm because donkeys do a good job keeping like any kind of like wild dogs or coyotes or stuff like that away. So got some cattle out there. My papa would keep llamas because he had a donkey one time that took a bite out of a couple cows, and so I didn't know that. So they were giving them away, and I was like, hey, I'll take them.
Yeah.
I tried to just get one of them. They're like, no, we're gonna keep them together. I'm like, all right. My wife is like, that's the opposite of a problem. I will gladly keep both of them.
Yeah. Now are they making noise for the neighborhood?
They're not actually, man. They went out there. They're like, oh my god, look at all this grass.
So they're busy eating instead of baying, huh?
Yeah, because when we first moved the cows over, like from the pen we had them in, the one of them looked at it and goes, oh my goodness, look at all this grass.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's like, screw your fence, I'm out of here. So, but
I like the way your cows talk.
They're like, no, yeah, that's they talk to me.
Yeah.
The problem is I talk back sometimes.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
But they're all getting along. They're real happy out there, and I got a new goat. This one's still running through the fence.
Good.
But their names are Carlos and Pablo. We call them the Bandito brothers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I've got like 2 or 3 other.
So they're not donkeys; they're burros.
I have no idea.
That's the Spanish name for donkey.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't habla español.
If they've crossed the border, then they're burros.
Yeah, but Anna's excited because Carlos will let him pet her. I mean, let her, and Pablo is getting to the point where he'll let her pet him a little bit. So she'll go out there and try to give him carrots just to, like, come let me love you.
I may be one of the only people that's ridden a donkey.
Yeah, I bet you couldn't ride one right now. That'd be a swayback.
No. We need the
need a team.
Yeah, we need a wagon. But no, man. When I was a kid in Clinton, they had this like a high school rodeo. Like the rodeo grounds were right next to the middle school. Okay. And they would kick off in the fairgrounds were right next to the school. And so they would kick off the county fair. They would have a rodeo, and it would be just high school kids, some of which had never ridden anything. Okay. Compete in the rodeo. Well, I was in elementary, so I couldn't do, like I couldn't compete in the contest. They didn't have me, like I couldn't do you had to be 16 and older to bull ride. There was I think you had to be 14 and older to do the steer wrestling deal. There was some saddle bronc and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't do it. Of course, I wasn't going to be able to do any of that, which was for good reason.
By the way, if you ever want to get some dirty looks, go to the rodeo, cheer for the animals.
Yeah, that's right. So, I decided, and once I got old enough, my grandpa had this donkey that I would ride on his farm. Her name was Katie. And so Katie was real tame, and I could ride her. I'd ride her around, my grandpa's house and stuff. and I'd ride her. Well, I'd just like jump on her without any reins or anything, just steer with her mane, stuff like that. I was a country kid, right?
Well, I've done that. I've done that when we had Welch ponies when I was younger,
yeah.
and I've done that a gajillion times with Welch ponies.
Yeah.
Not on the back. So go ahead.
So anyway, in the rodeo, they have the little opening proceedings. It's just like where people just ride their horses around at the beginning just to kind of show who all's participating. And they would let us elementary kids take part in that. So I got my grandpa to bring Katie down, this donkey. Well, we go into the arena, and Katie, she decides that she didn't want to go in the circle like everybody else. She sees some hay around the edge of the arena, like up against the fence, So right. She just beelines over to it and starts eating. And I'm pulling on her, and I'm kicking her, and I'm whipping her, and I'm doing all these different things, trying to get her. And she ain't budging. She's just eating hay, because it was better hay than my grandpa was probably feeding her. And right. So I finally got mad, and I jumped off of her, and I pulled her back, back to my grandpa's trailer.
Well, your grandpa had probably out there with a zebra, a kangaroo. And...
Yeah. but all of a sudden I turn around, and here's the clowns. And the clown says, "Hey, can we borrow your donkey?" And so the clowns get on the donkey, and they take off through there, and they got one of those big red, like wiffle ball bats, and they're kind of whipping her with that. And they get her she won't go in the circle, but they're just going all kind of haywire out in there, and everybody's laughing at her and stuff like that. Yeah. So Clint, it's pretty bad.
Now, how was that? You're sitting there, you're what? How old are you at this point?
I was probably 10 years old, 9 years old.
And they came with clowns. I mean, I just wanted you like, "Hey, kid."
It's pretty bad when your ride gets commandeered by a bunch of clowns.
We borrow you, doggy? Like you had the authority to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was my grandpa. He said yes too, but yeah. I didn't know what. I was so mad. I didn't know. I was embarrassed. But
no, I just wanted to. In my mind, I wanted it to be you by yourself.
Oh, like, yeah.
Load the donkey on the trailer, and here's like 10-year-old Travis. And next thing you know, a gang of
clowns. Hey, kid.
Hey, kid.
Give me your donkey.
Give me your donkey.
Let me borrow that burro.
They know, and he squirts you with water. Like,
yeah. Give me the burro, or your face gets it. Sorry, sir. Sorry.
You leave me alone.
You can take it. Stop picking on me. All right. Anyway, Clint, that's enough about. Congratulations on the donkeys.
Thank you.
You're a real farmer now. Well, Clint, last week was, I guess, while we were recording, was SEC Media Days, and there's been a lot come out of it. First of all, what did you think of the choices that Sam Pittman made to take with him as far as players for Arkansas? That's always an interesting thing to think about.
I think on offense, it was two no-brainers. I really do. I mean, you could make maybe the that instead of, if you want to go with the traditionalists, like you took seniors, but, maybe Limmer or Latham instead of Rocket. But the reality is the face of the offense are
KJ and Rocket.
KJ and Rocket. I mean, that's when you think of Arkansas, if you're going to see a poster, it's going to have KJ and Rocket on it.
Well, and last year they took Wagner and KJ and Poole were the three players. We talked about that earlier, but and I'm with you there. You also got to remember, you got to take players that the media across the SEC and national media, because the SEC's Media Days is a national media event that they want to talk to. You got to have players there that those reporters want to hear from also. And so, and I think that's the guys That's the guys that, and you got to have guys that you feel like going to represent your school well. Do you see KJ's bling he had?
He did. He did have some bling. I don't know if I'd be bragging about a Liberty Bowl championship ring.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Outback's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is now. There's no telling these things.
Yeah.
Things. Now, and I know we didn't discuss about this is it maybe you know more about that I do, but Stanky, Greg Sankey, that's his name.
Yeah,
Sankey. He had an idea like to replace the bowl series with like you're just going to see everybody 1 through 84, or something like that. And I assume in that case you do the playoffs and then 13 plays 14, 15 plays 16, 17 plays 18, 19, 20. He had that idea. I don't know if I'm but anyway, did you catch any of that?
I didn't catch any of that. No.
Well, I'm happy I brought it up considering neither one of us has researched it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, apparently that was out there. He offered a solution to the bowl games. And
let's go back to the choices for Arkansas.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We forgot to talk about the third choice.
No, yeah, for sure.
Which was maybe one that might have been a little surprising to some, but I think it says a lot about, I don't think it was surprising, but it says a lot about this young man, and that was Landon Jackson. Was the defensive representative. A lot of people, I think if you would have asked me to predict it beforehand, I would have probably said Pooh Paul would have been it. I think them, or maybe like a, there's 9 seniors on that defensive line. So like a Zach Williams, maybe, or Eric Gregory, somebody like that. But I think it says a lot about what they expect out of Landon Jackson.
Yeah.
Landon Jackson has gained weight up to like 280.
The 280 has not lost a second of speed, they said. I mean,
they say he runs 20 miles an hour. That's fast.
How many miles an hour do you think you run?
Can we go negative?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, 20 miles an hour. I really think, look, I'm a fan of Landon. He's been on this podcast. Hopefully we're going to have him on in the future. Hopefully the near future. I'm a big fan of his game. Watching him, I think he's got a lot of skill. And I think, especially with the new defense that we're going to run, with mostly 4 down linemen, it's going to open up our defensive ends to do some big things. Okay.
For sure. And, when we had Cam Ball on, you could tell Cam is like the defensive line is excited to play in this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just I think with Barry Odom's defense, like it was more of like, hey, you defensive linemen eat it up. And that way Bumper, Grant, them guys could get the tackles. And I think the defensive linemen are a little bit more freed up to play ball.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think Pooh Paul might have been a choice, maybe some of the red shirt seniors, but I really, if I was a gambling man, I don't know about Rocket Sanders. I just don't. But I think you can say that I think the 3 C's would probably be worn by Landon Jackson, Pooh Paul, and KJ.
Yeah.
And then, maybe one of the linemen will have it. We'll have it. But that's
I bet I wouldn't doubt if who is it that is it? I get Latham and Lemur mixed up a lot.
Yeah, I think Limmer's the one that the Limmer's probably they got a little bit more.
He's the one moved to center, right?
Yeah, he's the one that moved to center, and I think Pro Football Focus probably has him as like the number 1 interior offensive lineman in the country.
Well, and I could see him get the captain, the captaincy. But like I say, you could also see a Zach Williams. He's one that it's easy to forget about him, but man, he's played some He's played some solid football. In the SEC media days, there wasn't a whole lot of shock and surprise. Of course, we missed Mike Leach.
Man, and I was telling me and you were talking about SEC. I said there's a thing that comes up on SEC Network. It was like opening statement word count.
Mm-hmm.
Like Clark Lee from Vanderbilt said 2,000 words. The average was around 1,000. I think Pittman and Lane Kiffin both at 1,300. And like last year, Mike Leach's opening statement, 7 words.
Yeah.
7 words.
He's like, just get into it. Let's go.
Let's go. What do you want to talk about?
I listened to a few of the coaches. Some of them I just listened to part of it. I did listen to Kiffin's. I kind of wanted to hear what he said.
He didn't want to be there.
Well, his hair didn't want to be there for sure. That dude, he's making too much money to have a haircut like that going to SEC media days. But it's funny because Kiffin, he spent a lot of time talking about the struggles and how the bad things that NIL and the transfer portal are doing to college football. But then on the second, the next word, he's like, and we're taking advantage of it as much as anybody. So he's complaining about it, but his team is doing the things that he doesn't like that's being done, because it's not against the rules.
Well, can I tell you what I'd be doing if I was a head football coach? Exactly what Lane Kiffin was doing. I hate it.
Yeah.
But it's the way the game's played.
And that's what I was going to ask you about it, because some people are giving him a hard time saying he's kind of a hypocrite or whatever. I don't think he's a hypocrite. I think he's following the rules and laws that are laid out for him to be able to follow. And he's doing what it takes in this world, in this climate, to have a good team.
Yeah.
It's just he doesn't like that he's having to do it.
No, I mean, but you can turn around a roster so much faster nowadays.
Yeah.
But I don't. A real case study this year on the way the portal is going to work, or how quickly I think Colorado is going to be an interesting to watch this year.
You're right.
That's going to be okay, because it's probably the most comprehensive, all y'all out, all y'all in.
Yeah, you're right.
It's ever been seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what Deion's done is crazy. And after all that, after turning all those over, I mean, a couple players that we love at Arkansas, Dominic, Miles Slusher, and so many other transfers, they've still got their over-under in Vegas at 3 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 wins. All that for
3 wins, yeah.
For 3 wins. No, they had 1 last year, so I don't.
Yeah.
And the Pac-12 is not playing in the SEC.
No.
It's not.
No.
But I think that's going to be – that one's going to be the interesting to watch. It really – that one's going to
be an interesting test case for sure.
I think if there's ever been like a team that, okay, this is a test case. Because that team is built on the transfer portal.
Yeah, and we may never see a team built on it like that. We probably will, but not in the way Deion's doing it, because you add in his celebrity to the whole thing, that his celebrity got some of those players there.
Well, I mean, if you're a bag, I mean, who? I mean, what would be that'd be like if he came to sit in your house and you're a cornerback to recruit you.
Yeah.
You play quarterback, that'd be like the equivalent of having Joe Montana. Somebody of that stature. I mean, if Deion's not the greatest cornerback of all time, he's in the top 2 or 3.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just
yeah.
So anyway, sorry, got off on a little NIL tangent there.
Yeah. No,
our transfer portal, sorry.
Yeah. But really, Probably the best one in front of the whole thing was Sam Pittman.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad that that gift and ability he's got to be so good in front of everybody he's just now getting to use that.
Yeah, because it's like I was messaging him, like he's made for that.
Yeah.
Like he's perfect for that environment.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's towards the back end of his career. He's not a young pup anymore.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe Arkansas is going to be his last job.
If he retires or whatever, I hope they're able to get him to step into like a Ken Hatfield type role and help with fundraising and stuff like that. Because you know how he already is so good. But if all he had to worry about was going and smoozing donors and, glad handing people, and he would have the Razorback Foundation behind him doing it, it'd be amazing. He could live down in Hot Springs at the lake and, just they'd fly him into wherever, Podunk town he'd go to, a Razorback Club meeting, and I think he'd raise millions of dollars for the Razorbacks.
I went to a Razorback basketball game a couple years ago, and I'm just sitting in the stands. I had good seats, but they weren't great. I think they were playing Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And I remember looking to my right, and Ken Hatfield's just sitting there in the stands with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was Mike Anderson's deal. I don't think Musselman was here yet, but I just remember no, Hatfield's just sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
Just relaxing.
Yeah, Hatfield's a pretty regular guy.
Yeah.
And and I think Pittman's the same way. Pittman's built kind of the same way. He'll just
my favorite Ken Hatfield stories is
what's that?
Was when Broyles was trying to talk him to come into Arkansas. He's like, I don't know, man. If it don't work out, we still love me? And he goes, I'll always love you, but I'll miss you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines. Like, I'll always love you.
Yeah.
But I'll miss you too.
Yeah.
So
no, that's true. Anything else from media days that jumped out to you?
No, on back to Pittman, I didn't watch a lot of media days. I probably got more out of Trey Biddy's walk and talk.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, if you're not watching Trey Biddy's walk and talks after basketball, after football games and everything, media days, press conferences, you're not using the YouTube right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get a lot out of that, and I like how he's off the cuff. I'm our chief rival, Trey Biddy. I'm sorry.
That's right. Yeah,
their chief rival, Trey.
That's right.
We've offered to let them consolidate in with us to become part of the Big C Bigger Team Network.
Yeah,
take over.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, but with Pittman, his love for all the University of Arkansas.
Yeah.
Because he really talked up all the other sports, talked about how, Arkansas was top 15 in I don't want to call it Commissioner's Cup, but for overall sports.
Yeah.
Just for showing that, he's aware of the overall health of the program and entire University of Arkansas athletic department. He was up there talking. I don't know how many of the coaches were talking about cross country and track success. We added 2 more national titles. I don't know how many national titles were we up to in track. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
nanners.
Yeah.
So,
one of the big things, of course, Razorback fans are talking about is, the press voted on on lots of stuff. Okay, but one of them is the SEC first team, second team, all that. And Arkansas had one player on the SEC first team, Rocket Sanders. And that was it. Daniels from LSU got it above KJ at quarterback. You think KJ was robbed?
Well, here's the thing. Daniels is LSU is probably going to be favored to win be first or second in the West. Them and Alabama are going to be 1-2. Yeah. You know, I think Arkansas's got a shot. I'm a homer and always think Arkansas's got a shot.
They got predicted to be second, I think.
Yeah. So, but if you win the SEC West, you're probably going to be in national title contention. So I can see it there. I think who's the more talented quarterback? KJ Jefferson. I really do. I think first on the Razorbacks, I think the other shocker was they had Joe Milton third.
Yeah.
That Joe Milton third. As much as I say it because I've been disappointed in him up until the end of last year, it seemed like the light bulb went off for him.
Mm-hmm.
If I was voting, I would have probably voted KJ number 1, Daniels 2, and then I'd have probably had Spencer Rattler number 3.
Yeah.
And I know we talk mostly Razorbacks on here, but you know the opening week you've got May from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Drake? I'm brain farting.
So.
Yeah, but you got him versus Spencer Rattler week 1. That's where game day one. But I'm like, man, that's a quarterback matchup.
Yeah,
you know that's what you go. That's what you go to football games see, to this quarterback versus that quarterback, and that's a good quarterback matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Milton's a bad quarterback. I think anybody's going to be successful in Heupel's system.
Yeah,
but I think that I would have put KJ 1 for sure, and then I would have Daniels 2, and then I'd probably spent a Rattler 3.
Did you have any other players that you thought should have been mentioned first team?
Oh, definitely Limmer.
Yeah.
When you're, I don't even think he was second or third team. I think they just left him off.
I can't remember I thought he was on second team.
Yeah. But when you're Pro Football Focus, which seems to be, you know, who a lot of go to as far as the NFL looks at it more than anybody. When you're ranked as highly as them and you don't even get picked to be first team all conference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just didn't focus on interior linemen and focus more on tackles.
Yeah.
But also, you know what my man Bo Limmer does have?
What's that?
A Lober Hendricks commercial. Or on Rainwater Holton Sexton. He's one of the personal injury attorneys.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything more beautiful about the NIL? I mean, 2 of the greatest things ever was, you know, Wright's Barbecue pretty much sponsoring the entire offensive line.
Yeah.
And they may just be getting paid in barbecue, but
yeah.
But they were like, that's what we'll do. Next time we have somebody on the podcast, instead of paying them, I'll just cook some barbecue and I'll ship it to them.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll smoke it, put it in a box, send it.
That's right. Yeah.
Should be good.
Yeah.
Pay
the DoorDash fees.
Yeah. Not that. I'm just going to UPS it.
Oh, okay.
I'll wrap it in aluminum foil.
Yeah. You know, I think others that look, tight ends, receivers, we don't have anybody that should have been mentioned. Nobody's proven yet. By the end of the season, we may have a guy from that group that gets mentioned for the first team. I think I'm excited about what a couple of the receivers could do for us.
Oh, I think everybody's excited to see what Tesla does.
Yeah. I think Landon Jackson, I think just on potential, I would like to have seen him got some votes there. I think Pooh Paul is pretty proven. I mean, he played a lot last year and put up a lot of stats. But there's some good linebackers in the SEC.
There are.
So,
you know, y'all don't get to hear the lead in to the thing, but I asked Travis, I asked him, I said, who do you think the best player in the SEC is, regardless of team? Yeah. And I said Harold Perkins from LSU.
Yeah.
Man ran down Malik Hornsby.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have an angle. If you can run down Malik Hornsby, that is impressive.
Yeah.
I had a tip it because that is
now the other one I thought was, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't looked at the stats on it, but no mention of Cam Little. He's a pretty solid kicker. Now his stats may not have been as good as some other guys, so I don't know what his stats were, but you expect a returning guy like him that's done the things he's done in the past, that he would have a chance, to be mentioned there. So I don't know, the other thing was in the voting, they voted on, where the teams would finish. Did you see where Vanderbilt got 8 first place votes? Yet they were picked last in the East.
They doing what are they ranking debate teams or something?
Eight people selected Vanderbilt.
Well, I'd vote for them if you want to know which team's probably got the most doctors on it. Yeah, I'd vote for Vanderbilt. Yeah. But who's have the highest income for those that don't go to the NFL? Then Vanderbilt. That just shows you some of the people that are voting don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
don't watch football. I mean, it's part of the problem with having the media vote on stuff is a lot of times they don't know what they're doing.
I think in the West, it came down Alabama, LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Arkansas.
Yeah, I've seen pretty much the top 2, and then you can take Arkansas, A&M, and Ole Miss and mix them in a hat, and they most of them have Auburn and Mississippi State bringing up the rear. I think if Mike Leach hadn't passed, you could be seeing a different direction for Mississippi State. I think they're gonna.
There's a lot of excitement around Mississippi State, even with this new coach.
No, there is, and I'm not. And he coached them in the bowl game, and I've sit there and said that, I would vote Rattler number 3. I mean, Will Rogers is get a chance to prove that he's not just a system quarterback.
Yeah.
And even some of them system quarterbacks are making livings in the NFL. I mean, look at Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
He's making a living.
Another thing that came out of the SEC Media Days real quick is Jimbo Fisher was asked about.
I meant to bring this up, but we had a guest a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
And Jimbo got real defensive real quick. What did you think about his response?
It's not going to work. What they're doing at A&M is not going to work. Listen, I think as well as I do, I have about as much respect for Steve Mullins as anybody in the world. But when you've got a guy that's used to calling plays and he don't want to give it up, he's either number one, he's either going to meddle or he's going to override.
Yeah.
I think the head coach should override maybe 2 or 3 plays a game.
Yeah.
There comes a time where, Kendall Briles wants to run a cute thing and you need to go, no.
Yeah.
Running the dive up the middle because that's what's working. There comes a time when you need to override them. But Bobby Petrino is one of the best play callers in the game. Period. And I hate the man. I don't want to say it. And it's like when you look at that, like Eli Drinkwitz, he gave up play calling at Missouri.
Well, him and Hugh Freeze both.
Yeah, he's like, nope. And they both answered right.
Both of them were very humble about it.
Yeah.
Freeze, I really liked his because he said, I've been out training people to run my system for years. He said, and I've never changed the language to it. He said, so just that fact, people know the language, what my plays are called or what I'm describing in my plays, just because they've sat in a conference and heard me teach it before. Yeah. He said, so he said, I needed to get with the times. And he said, the guy they hired, I forget his name, but he said he runs the same system I do, but he's years ahead. He's not stuck back in time. And so was kind of the gist of what Freeze said. And Drinkwitz, I'm not a big Drinkwitz fan, but he handled it in a humble way too. He said, look, I was a weakness last year and we need to change some things. And that's just what needs to happen. But I think here's the truth. Jimbo realizes that he just probably hired his replacement. Because what's going to happen is he's going to, if they lose some games, if it doesn't work, okay, if they can't work together and they lose some games they shouldn't, he's going to be getting off a plane on a tarmac and he's going to be told, you're fired. Bobby's going to be the interim coach for the rest of the year. And when Bobby has control, like you said, like him or not, he's one of the best play callers around. And he's going to go out there and do well. Especially if Jimbo starts out the year fighting against him and everything he does. And Jimbo may have already been told, look, if you don't step, if this doesn't change things, that's your replacement.
It really reminds me of Gus coming to Arkansas.
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, the complaints have been last year, like Jimbo, like he's running a 1995 offense. It's 1990s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
He isn't with the modern times.
Yeah.
And so to appease people, like, okay, hire an office coordinator. And it was everybody. It wasn't, with Arkansas, it was more the national media. It was more the Arkansas folks. You didn't hear too much. Of course, that being said, the national media wasn't what the national media is now.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody was like, of course, when you have like the greatest recruiting class ever, there's going to be eyeballs on you.
Yeah.
So he had all these eyeballs on him, and the offense stunk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just if it wasn't for like two wonky things that just happened, Arkansas probably runs away with that game against them. But the wonky things did happen, and it was what it was when we lost the game. But so it could have been so much worse for them. And and when you're a controlling person like Jimbo, you're not going to want to give up control.
Yeah.
Even if you're handing the keys.
Well, one of the big obvious differences, I agree with you. It does remind me of the Gus Houston deal. Of course, one of the obvious differences is Bobby's proven.
Right.
He's a proven commodity in some ways, He's also proven some negatives, but he's proven the positives, right? Gus was unproven. He was coming straight from high school. But I think the pressure was still put on Houston that this is the guy that could be taking your place. And I think that same pressure was there. And, Houston, decided if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out my way. I'm not going to go out by what this guy, and that's led to him benching Mustaine and kind of taking over things toward the end of the year.
Well, we played that 1-7 overtime game, a really big overtime game, and Nutt was sitting there, and he was like, he said something on radio. Yeah, I was thinking about what plays need to be called, and people calling in drive time sports. I can tell, hey, he's taking over the play calling from Gus. I mean, it just, and talk radio is going to be big down there in the Houston area where A&M is.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be talking about it, and they're going to be. It is a marriage that is going to be overanalyzed every single week because it's Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher, and the national media knows them. And the national media doesn't like Bobby Petrino, and I don't think they like Jimbo much more.
No.
And so
No, they're not happy with either one of them.
People want to see it. People want to see them fail.
Yeah,
I would say more of the country wants to see them. They don't want to see them fail at College Station.
Yeah,
but everybody else wants to see them fail. And,
yeah. Well, we're less than 40 days away from Razorback football getting started, and so that's exciting. It's getting to be about that time for us, to get ready for that. So that'll be a good thing. We did have some Razorback basketball news. What's the young man's name, Clint? Transferred from Washington.
Kenyon Manfield.
Kenyon Manfield.
I believe so.
He wasn't
6'1" guard.
Yeah, he's a guard. He's not I watched some highlights of him whenever we first signed him. He's not like a big time scorer, but he's a high energy guy. I did hear, I think it was John Neighbors was talking about him on his podcast this week, that one thing that a lot of people were excited about with him is he's a great lob thrower, and that him and Trayvon Brazile would work well together because he would throw a lot of lobs up for Trayvon to dunk on people. But was an energy, probably be a good pressure, defensive guy. Well, in a weird kind of thing, we don't really know why this happened. He has been moved to, he's ineligible, red shirt, non-scholarship, correct?
I didn't see he's ineligible, but I did see he's redshirting and he's not going to be on scholarship. My thinking was, and this may be a better question for Bart Reed than me, was that I thought they were one over the limit.
And so this puts them one under now.
Oh, then I have no idea. It is definitely a weird thing.
Yeah.
Probably
only if there was something wrong with maybe a class or something didn't transfer that he was hoping would.
Yeah.
That kind of thing's happened before, that some classes don't. I remember Jordan Dominic told us about, he had really good grades, but so even if it's not that you necessarily have bad grades, it's just that some classes don't transfer from school to school, and Arkansas can be kind of picky on that from what I hear. So
it says Arkansas currently has 12 scholarship players and teams are allowed 13 by the NCAA.
Yeah. So that's interesting. We don't, like I said, we don't really know the answer. We don't know why this guy's redshirting. He's, but they say he's staying with the team. He's staying in the school. He'll have to pay his own way this year. But I'm sure they found some NIL money to pay his way.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then they'll get something out of him next year, hopefully. So anyway, besides that, there's not a lot of besides just getting ready for the football team, and we're going to do, as we get closer, we're going to continue to do a lot more of that kind of thing. We'll analyze the schedule coming up and things like that. But Clinton had a good idea of something for us to talk about.
Oh man, I was wondering if we're going to get to it.
We're big fans of, like a lot of y'all out there, we're big fans of barbecue. Whether, any kind of barbecue. Now, the best barbecue stuff you do at home or you do with friends or whatever. But there's some restaurants out there, and I don't think we necessarily need to rank them or anything like that, but what are some of the restaurants, Clint, that you've had maybe here in Arkansas that
my favorite barbecue place in Arkansas is a hole in the wall in Forest City called Delta Q. I don't think I've had their brisket there and it wasn't all that, but they make these things called barbecue egg rolls.
Yeah.
It's like basically barbecue, the coleslaw, they fry it up, and then they serve it with they mix honey mustard and barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And they serve it there. It is like literally one of my favorite places to go. And you know, where I live in the central part of the state, it's nothing for me to go to Memphis. It's a couple hour drive.
Yeah.
So I like going to Memphis. I enjoy BB King's if I'm going to go downtown, go on Bill Street, because you know you could eat the ribs there without any teeth.
Yeah.
Like it falls off. And I also love I know I went out of state on you there, but I also love Memphis Barbecue Company because they do the same thing at Delta Q. They bring pork rinds out like chips at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, here, eat some pork rinds, and I'm like, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
How about you? Where's your go-to spot in the state of Arkansas if you have to pick?
Well, I don't. On some of mine, they're not really the places that I've been a ton of times. But of course, I live down here in South Arkansas, and we're, you know, there's a couple places I'll mention later, but historically, probably one of the neatest places I've been was Craig's Barbecue in Devall's Bluff.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned it a couple times.
It's a kind of a vinegar based sauce. Mm-hmm. But it's like I had to duck my head to go through the door. Like it's the dining room's like 5 tables, I think, something like that. And they serve you on styrofoam plates. And it was good. The meat was, very well done, smoked, and I tried a couple different things there. Then there's a pie shop across the road. I didn't try the pies. That's my big regret there. And I want to shout out a couple places down here because I have said before there wasn't a lot of good places down here, but there's a food truck, Flaming Pig Barbecue. It's a guy that's I think he used to work with the sheriff's department or something like that. He does a lot of he goes around different places with his truck, and then he'll do a lot of fundraisers for people like kids dealing with cancer or people dealing with cancer. He'll go set up at a church for them and sell like $10 meals and give the proceeds, like all the profits to the cause or whatever. But they have, if you eat off their regular menu, they have barbecue quesadillas that are really, really good. And they have some really good barbecue tacos.
Oh yeah.
Their sauce is not one that like everybody would like. I like it. But it's the first time I didn't know about it, but then the more I ate it, the more I liked it. I think it's got some like apple butter in it to sweeten it. The sauce does. So it's got that kind of a sweet tang to it. Now there's another place that's more of it was a traditional, like regular restaurant that, because of the guy's health, he ended up having to shut it down, but he was in Smackover, and then he opened up a place in El Dorado, a bigger place there. So I went there quite a bit for a while. I had the best burn ends from him that I've ever had. They had some really good burn ends. And he had some really creative sandwiches, like he did a Cajun pulled pork sandwich. It'd have pulled pork, and then he had some andouille sausage, and then he would have I would get it with some he had some cheese dip you could pour on top of that. Man, it was good stuff.
Go ahead. I interrupted you. Apologize.
No, but it's their ribs were pretty good. They weren't the best I've ever had, but they were good. Brisket was, look, if you're outside of Texas, your brisket's not going to be awesome. I mean, it's just not. I mean, it's not going to be.
No, because literally when me and you first talked about it, we were talking about ranking them. I was going to have Terry Black's number one.
Yeah,
just far top, and that's in Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
that between it was them and I would say Mighty Quinn's in New York City, the two best barbecue places I think I'd ever had. There's also he's since gone out of business. There was a place called Roscoe's in Rose City, down on Broadway. Oh my God, it was so good. He had good barbecue, and I do enjoy me some Mean Pig and Cabot.
Yeah, Mean Pig. I've eaten that a lot with you.
Yeah. I used to live in Cabot. Of course, I haven't lived there so many years, but
back in the day, yeah, we'd go there quite a bit.
Fistro's is also in Rose City. Of course, I think he's went to more of a soul food type place. He used to have him and he's got some good. He had some good catfish. I don't know.
I'll tell you, man, for my money, Hog Pen in Conway.
See, and I've never eat there, but I need to check it out. And I work just right down the street.
Dude, I used to go there quite a bit when I worked at Game Time Sports, and I'd go there to pick up lunch, and I went. There's some folks that were from my church in Camden. The guy's brother lives in Conway, and they went there one time with them, and now every time they go to Conway, they go eat there, and they got some creative dishes there too. I went here a while back and got some. Their ribs were good. Everything was pretty good. What's that one that's downtown by Walgreens too, in Conway?
It's went out of business, but I know what you're talking about. It was Fat Daddy's. They had real good food. There's still one in Russellville. I've never ate at that one. But man, I used to go to the one in Conway all the time.
You know what was crazy about them? Is to me the best thing they had was their sides.
Yeah.
Like the meats were good. They wasn't like nothing to write home about, but their sides were really fantastic.
They had good fried pork skins, and it wasn't like rinds. It was like a pork skin, and it was. I mean, it was good. I mean, look, you're going to need a quadruple bypass after you ate it, but
yeah,
it was pretty good.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was good. I hate that one went out because I loved that place.
Yeah,
loved it. Yeah, there's all kinds of good. But you know what's funny is we've had Brady Tigert, who's from the Memphis area, around Memphis, and we talked to a couple other guys from around the area, and we asked them like, "Hey, best barbecue in Memphis?" Like, man, I don't know. My friend's dad.
Yeah.
So like you said, some of these guys are in their backyards cooking up any better than anything that they're.
Yeah. Well, and my go-to place in Memphis is Central Barbecue. I can't hardly go anywhere else. That's my. I really enjoy it, and their desserts are phenomenal. Also, which I'm not a big I normally don't order desserts when I'm out to eat, but I'd rather eat more meat.
Yeah,
but theirs is pretty good. And I got to throw in, look, I know some people it's not their favorite or whatever, but I spent a lot of time at McLard's in college, and man, thanks to my buddy Mike Floyd, who introduced me to it. We're my sophomore year. I met him, and we're sitting around the dorm, and he says, we started talking about barbecue, and he's like, oh man, nothing better than McLard's rib and fry. And I was like, what's McLard's? And he thought I'd ask,
You thought you'd done something inappropriate.
Spoke blasphemy, yeah. And so I said, he said, man, he said, we're going tomorrow. I said, okay, sure. He said, don't eat lunch, and then we'll go for supper. I was like, what do you mean don't eat lunch? I said, look at me. I can eat lunch and still go to a barbecue place. He said, I'm telling you, don't eat lunch. Yeah. And so I go up there and we sit in this big old booth, and they hand us menus, and Mike just grabs it from me and he said, ribs and fries all around. He said, tell her what you want to drink. So I was like, I guess I'm getting ribs and fries.
Yeah, the first time we're like, you're getting ribs and fries. I go, okay.
Yeah. And they bring out those ribs, and they're beef ribs, and they cover the whole plate. And then they pile the fries up so big that they give you another little plate, and you got to take some of them off just so you can get to your ribs, or you got to eat down through them. And then, and they give you some white bread with it, and you just go to work, man. And then some of my friends from Hot Springs started telling me about the tamale spread. And dude, that tamale spread may be one of the best barbecue dishes I've ever had in my life. It's so good. And I wouldn't try it for a long time because I'd been trained to eat the rib and fry. But I had a buddy that was from Lake Hamilton, and he died in a car wreck. And so the next time I went, and he had always told me, he's like, you got to try the tamale spread. You got to try the tamale spread. So the next time I went, I said, all right, for Eric, I'm gonna eat the tamale. And now that's what I get when I go. And then they got apple pie and ice cream.
Yeah.
But we'd go up there, man, and we'd just be a bunch of guys. And you went with us a few times.
I did.
But I went up there probably 10 years or so after I left OBU or something like that. And I took a couple of my youth at the time with me. And the owner came up to me, and she's like, hey, gave me a big hug, and it's like, what are y'all doing? What are you doing now? And I told her where I was, what I was doing. She's like, where's all your buddies at? I said, oh, everybody's in different places now,
They grew up and moved on.
Yeah. And she's like, we used to love having y'all come in here. Y'all were so much fun. Yeah. I said, I figured you hated us because we were kind of loud and obnoxious. And she said, no, y'all had a great time, and y'all didn't make a mess or nothing, and y'all treated everybody right. So anyway, it was
that's good. Those are good memories. I do remember I had to work at her Hot Springs store been a few years back now, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, hey, I asked Hannah, if you want to drive up with me, we'll make a day of it. Mm-hmm. And then we went and ate at McClard's after work, and it was like, it brought back good memories hanging out with you there. The rib plate. It just, I'm happy you mentioned that. It wasn't going to be in my top 5 when I listed them.
Yeah, I know.
But I really didn't think about it because it's been so long since I'd ate there. But yeah, that brings back some good memories, my friend.
Well, that tamale spread, dude. Did you ever have it?
I never had it. I'm going to order the ribs when I go there. I have to. And I got some loaded fries last time. They had like barbecue on them that were real good.
Yeah. So. Well, that tamale spread, dude, it's really, really good. Oh, I got to where if I was in Hot Springs, I'd sometimes just go by and buy like a dozen tamales. Yeah. And I'd bring them home and get some like Wolf Brand chili and cheese and put on them. Good stuff. Because the meat in the tamales is the barbecue pork or beef or whatever. So anyway.
Yep. Well, another one bites the dust.
Another one bites the dust.
What is this? Like 120 something?
I think it is 120.
120.
I think that's right.
120. So yeah.
Yeah. So we
so we're old in podcast years.
That's right. That's right. Folks, we appreciate you listening. What's your favorite barbecue places? Do you like some of the ones we said? Do you think
what were we dumb for not mentioning?
Yeah, there's lots we didn't mention.
We're and trust me, we are dumb.
Like I've always wanted to try that place in Marianna.
Yeah.
Where the guy makes the sandwiches on just a white bread, and he does the same thing every day. But
yeah, I didn't even mention Stim's Barbecue in Little Rock. That place is an institution.
Yeah.
So who else did we forget?
Who else did we forget? Tell us who we're missing, and or if you agree with us on some of ours, tell us what you agree with, or if you disagree. We may have mentioned one. You may say, "Man, that place is terrible." Well, tell us why. Anyway, Clint, it's been a good one, man.
Hi, everybody.
Everybody have a great week. Like, subscribe, hit your notification button.
Right now.
Right now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Right now.
Later.
Bye.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy